Welcome to Family Focus, a program produced by Family Service Association. I'm your host, Mike Moran. We're very, very delighted that you are tuned into this edition of the program as we enter the month of February. Yeah, the jacket's off. For the first time in the, I want to say, 11 years that we've done this program, it's without jacket, and that's because of the guest. He walked in, no jacket. So if he's not wearing one, I'm not. And he is the newly elected mayor of the city of Fall River, Paul Coogan.
Mike, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
I'll wear a jacket next time, I guess.
No. I like it.
It's casual.
You've liberated me.
There you go. Go ahead.
Finally. Well, although I think we have the matching shirt.
No, that's what makes us the twins.
You've got a little bit more of a crease in yours
All
than
right,
mine.
go ahead.
How are you?
Good.
What a pleasure to have you on this program.
It's great to be here. I like talking to the citizens of the city.
I hope so, with the job that
Absolutely.
you've just jumped into, and what a jump it's been. I do want to talk a little bit about that, but one of the things that we do on this program is talk about a number of things. Many of the services that we provide at the agency that sponsors this program and the agency that's employed me for the past 29 years. And we talk with our community partners. And there have been times when those partners include people that now come from the walk of life, whether it be on the state level, the local level, or even the federal level, the people that are in public service and who serve as elected officials. And so it's great to have the sitting mayor of the city of Fall River here. It's been an interesting road to get you here.
Oh, it sure has. I mean, we had to go back to back with a winter campaign and then a fall campaign. And the year before that, I think we were working on the vote yes question for Durfee. It's just been, I'm kind of glad that we're not campaigning for a little while. We get to go to work.
Well, you know, we are on 13 affiliate stations in communities all around the southeastern Massachusetts area. And so there are some people that are watching. By the way, the program is seen on Channel 95 and Fall River Community Television for those who are cable subscribers. On Tuesday nights at 8:30 is our primary airing, but we have several airings throughout the week. And this program will run all throughout the month of February. Nice. Some people may not know you, don't know your history, don't know the work that you did in the school department. Where at Durfee High School you were, what was your official title? You were a vice principal.
Vice principal for a long time.
That always was a dirty word when I was in school. He or she was the disciplinarian.
Right.
You know.
But it morphed since then, Mike. It's like all jobs change as you get older. When I first started, I was more of a disciplinarian. I was working in Durfee doing the work experience program, and the former superintendent, Jim Gibney, said to me, "We need help at Cuss." And if you remember, Cuss at the time was a very challenged middle school. They were under all kinds of state scrutiny. And he sent me down there as an acting vice principal. I got my teacher's pay, and he was able to give me a stipend, which kept me there with $5 a day. So it worked out great, and I got my feet wet. I got my feet wet, and then I went to Talbot for a couple of years and went back to Durfee. But I've been in education my whole life. My first job was at St. Vincent's Home as a sped teacher for a couple of years. So,
well, it's interesting that you say that, because we've had the folks from St. Vincent's Family Service Association for a good number of years, had staff stationed doing clinical work at St. Vincent's Home. And Kristen McCluskey, who was going to be our guest in our March program, he had an earlier part of his career. He's the coordinator of the youth services for the city of Fall River, but he also had experience at St. Vincent, so all points seem to lead there.
It's a great place to get your feet wet, get back to work, and again, a lot of kids there with variety of needs, and if you can work with them, you can work with anybody.
Right. And I ask pretty much everybody who comes on this program one common question, and that is, what got you, of course you're in the political field now, but you're in the service field. You're, as an educator and as somebody that worked with youth at St. Vincent's, what was it in your training upbringing that pointed you in that direction?
It's probably in my DNA. If you know a little bit about my background, there was 11 Coogan children, and you always had to find a way to help others because they were always there with you, whether they were younger or older. And
whether you were the one needing help or you were the one who was called upon to administer.
You were in that kind of environment where people had to pitch in and do things together. I went to college. I graduated from SMU, and then I went to St. Vincent's Home, and I realized there, I wasn't sure of myself when I got there, but I learned quickly that you have to be adaptable to work with teenagers and young kids, and it helped me a lot. It set me up for the rest of my life. And this school, when I went to BCC, it made me grow up also. When I came out of high school, I was probably just another kind of lost kid, not sure what I wanted to do, didn't have the directions other kids had, but BCC helped me a lot.
Wow.
And it started to steer me in the direction of working with people, and that's what I wanted to do, and it worked out for me. I'm very pleased. I loved my job. I really feel bad for people that go to work and they don't like what they're doing, because I don't know what kind of drudgery that is.
Yeah.
If you like what you're doing, I like what I'm doing now as mayor. I liked what I did then.
One of the things that I used to hear a lot about, Mr. Coogan, Mr. Coogan, Mr. Coogan, from people that I knew, and I was a Conley graduate, am a Conley graduate, didn't go to Durfee, but I interact with a lot of people who bleed black and red, the Durfee colors. And they say, you know, Paul Coogan was always very well respected by the kids. You don't get that automatically. You earn that. Right. What is it that you were able to do to make those connections where almost down to the last young man or young woman that I would speak to, they would say complimentary things about you?
Well, I didn't start like that, obviously, but what I learned...
Is that the easiest question you've ever been given in your career?
But it's an easy question, but it's an important question, because in education today, you have to be able to connect with the kids.
Right.
So if you're at the door in the morning saying, welcome, welcome, joking with them, where'd you get that shirt? What are you wearing on your head? And you start to create a banter with them, and they become comfortable with you. And if you're always around... I mean, I was in the cafeteria every day for 3 lunches, so you see every kid. Some of them I fought with, some of them I laughed with, but you keep moving and you keep around them. If they know they know you're there, then the biggest compliment the kids give you is if they don't really notice you. You're just part of their world, and you travel with them. And you know, not like when you walked in, when you and I were kids, Mike, the vice principal walked in, you were like, "What's going on? Something's up." If they know you're there and you're part of the woodwork, then they respect you. They want you. They want you there. Believe me, they want you. I tell people this. One time there was a very bad disagreement in the cafeteria, and I was trying to separate 2 girls to show you how strong I am. And I went flying over a table with one of the girls, and one of the other VPs had the other ones, and we all went tumbling around on the floor. We got them separated, and hopefully everything worked out. But for the rest of the day, I bet you I had 200 kids come up to me and ask me if I was all right.
If you were okay.
Yeah, so are you okay? You okay? Yeah, I said I went bouncing. I told them I went bouncing because they saw me go bouncing.
Yeah, you couldn't deny it.
No, but I'm okay. Because they were genuinely concerned about how I came out of that, and it wasn't. And the people fighting weren't trying to hurt us. They were just trying to hurt each other at that moment. But I was really touched by the way the kids come up to you. You okay? You okay? You all right, Mr.
Quite a
Coogan?
story.
It was a good story because it makes you realize that they do care for you. It's great.
And at some point in your career as an educator, you must have thought it through, maybe sat down with Judy and said, I think I'm going to run for school committee. Can you tell me about that process? Because not everybody makes that leap. I mean, everybody's got opinions about politics. Everybody's got opinions about what those politicians should be doing.
Yeah.
But very few say, I'm going to give it a shot.
All right. Well, when I retired in 15, I knew from working on the inside some of the things in the schools that I wanted to correct. And as an outsider now, as a retiree, my option was to run for school committee, and I stuck my head into the arena, and the people in Fall River were very nice to me. I topped the tickets both times I ran, and I had some ideas about how schools should run. I mean, I don't want to get into negatives about the former superintendent, but I believe that school committee people should be able to go into the schools and see what's going on, walk around a classroom. And again, I know her concern was, you had someone like Paul Coogan, who worked in a school his whole life. He may know how to carry himself and act in a school, but what if you had a gentleman that was a truck driver or an accountant, or someone that didn't know how a school flows? Would they be disruptive? And
have that same comfort level and accomplish the communication that you would strive to accomplish.
So that's what we did. We changed the policy, and we allowed school committee people to go into the schools and talk to students and staff. And I was visiting a school last week.
Yeah.
I make sure I'm still out there doing it. I told people I would not stop, and I like walking around a school talking to people.
Right. So what would you say during the several terms that you had on the school committee in Fall River that were among the biggest challenges, other than the things that would customarily come to mind for a community like Fall River that's got some educational challenges in general?
At one point we were talking about something on one of the shows, and I brought up the fact that the changing demographics in Fall River. When you and I were kids, Mike, the city was almost 100% white.
Sure.
Now we're dealing with a very mixed population, and the challenges that go along with that are hiring staff that reflect your student population, professional development, differentiating instruction, multiple languages you have to learn. That's what I meant when they were trying to say, oh, he said something that was racist. It's not racist. You want to be able to have a staff that can treat and help and assist the students in front of you. You want to be able to do that. You want them to know that you care for them and you love them. And it's better that if they see a wide range of people working in the building. That was the point I was trying to make. I think that these numbers are changing so rapidly.
Right.
I was looking at New Bedford High School the other day. I think they're 44% ELL now, and like 32% white and 15% minority. We're not there yet, but these numbers are rapidly changing in the South Coast, and we have to be adaptable to keep up with them in all the things we do.
And you'll know this, that organizations like mine that serve children, that serve elders, that are out in the community with multiple services that really touch a lot of lives, we too understand that, and it's almost a natural occurrence that you look at your applicants for positions that you want to fill, and you say, hey, I was thinking of this just the other day, and you've just described it, the change from years ago.
Right.
We have a workforce at my organization that is reflective of the community that it serves.
Right.
And so the desire to have that on your faculty in school, and people who populate every department in city government, now that you're sitting in a different position, is something that another mayor might say, well, that's nice, but it seems to me as though you're taking that head on.
I looked at my the RDA, which is a big economic development board in Fall River. And I'm trying to do this. It's extremely challenging.
RDA being Redevelopment Authority.
Right. I brought in a gentleman that was not political at all, Louis Gonzalez. He owns the juice bar and those beauty shops and the barber shops down there. Self-starter, small businessman, committed to Fall River, lives down in South End. I said, you're on the board. I asked him to join us because I want to try to create diversity, and I'm still trying. We have other board openings that we're trying to look for different people. I mean, of course, we're going to pick people that know what they're doing, and we're looking for strong people. And I had the conversation with Louis. He said, I don't know what all these people do. I said, listen, you'll pick it up. You'll pick it up. Listen, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Listen and learn.
Listen and learn. I'm the mayor now, but I go to meetings. I don't have to always talk. I listen. I listen to how they do things, and that's how you pick it up. I said, you got to listen and learn.
Talk to me a little bit. You've sort of answered in part my question about making the jump from being an educator, retiring, and then saying I want to get into elective office, and certainly at the school committee level, at any level, whether you're in one of our suburban towns and you're the tree warden, you're in a different way. Answerable to the public. You always are when you're in the public school system, and you were well acquainted with that. But you are at a different level when you become an elected official, and people are constituents.
Right.
And so now my question is, taking that to the next step and saying, I'm going to run for mayor.
Well,
is that a big gulp moment where you go, do I want my life to change that significantly?
Right. I think that that's what people have to understand. And I tried to stress it during the campaign when they said, oh, he doesn't have the experience here, he doesn't have that. I worked in an organization. Oh, they killed me. He doesn't have this and that. I'd laugh. I said, listen, I worked in an organization where every day 2,600 people came through the doors. And they all had problems, and they all had stories, and they all had expectations. And you're there trying to maneuver through this all day long, and you have your day planned. You think you're going to do this, and what's the Mike Tyson saying, everybody has a plan till you get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And the day starts and the day goes wherever it wants to.
Right.
And Government Center is very similar. You do have a calendar every day and you have people to help you, but you know, they want to know what you're going to do, and you get into these meetings. And like I said to you, Mike, I'm not afraid to listen. You know, my staff gets mad at me when I say you don't have to be the smartest person in the room every time. They're always, don't say that. I said, no, but that's what I believe, because I don't want to be. I want to be able to learn from the people there that have more experience, and I think that that's important. And the next time that comes up, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But you got to learn as you go along. And I'm still
like you said to Louis,
Right.
who wasn't certain that he was up to the task.
I said, you're up to the task. I said, you have the work ethic and you have the core principles that I like, and you'll pick it up. And that's what I'm saying for all of us. I'm the mayor. I get done work in the morning. I walk over to Sherry's maybe and have lunch, or up the street to Harry's, say hi to people the whole way. Last night I got done work. I went to the South Point Nursing Home. I went to Scotty's to award the people from People Inc. a mentoring certificate.
Right, for the Smiles program.
I try to keep out. I want to be visible. Got my own car. They tried to give me a phone. I couldn't use it, so I gave it back. I mean, I got my phone. It works. I don't, you know, I went to the MMA convention Saturday. I paid for my own parking. I'm not complaining about money or anything. I know how to do this. I can figure this out as we go along. We're getting better every single day, and the city is going to be a better place when we leave it.
That's got to be a book that needs to be written. Is the orientation one goes through. They say, all right, you're going to be the mayor of a city of 90,000 people, and yeah, you have some political experience. You have a couple of terms of serving citywide as a member of the school committee under your belt, but I would imagine that even if you spent every day during the campaign envisioning what is it going to be like when I'm there, once you're there, it's got to be different.
It's different, but I worked at a certain pace at the school. This was the pace I worked at. That's the pace I'm working at now. The pace didn't change. The duties did and the responsibilities did.
Right.
But it's just work, and we have to make sure that we leave Fall River a better place. And I think that if we take where we started in January and get rid of all the negativity that was associated with the last administration. And if you see what's going on, the Lieutenant Governor is coming down tomorrow. We've already established positive relationships with these people. They want to engage us. I'm not doing all the press conferences. People yell at me for that. Put your name on that. Put your name on this. And I'm saying, listen, they're helping the city. I try to do it for some. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a politician.
Right.
But I'm not worried about every press release having my name in it. We are doing good things for the city. We've worked on some very tangible things that we're getting done right away with the streets. Last night, I know it's a big deal, but we rescinded a couple of these streetscapes. They may come back, but right now we're going to fix people's streets. We want streets first, then we'll go to streetscapes. Cosmetics can come after. But we got the council to rescind that last night. We've made some good, solid appointments, and we're going to work hard. And there's not going to be any scandal as far as I know, because anybody that gets involved with that will be leaving momentarily. They will be leaving momentarily, Mike.
Talk to me about the city council, because I have been an observer of the city council for a lot of years. In my early radio days, I used to cover the council meetings, so I sat in the gallery. And before they were televised live on cable television, they were broadcast live on radio. And the day that happened, Bob Kerr, reporter for the Providence Journal, looked at his clock and he said, "This is your fault," because we were now live on the radio and the meetings were going on very, very long.
Yeah.
There have been, so I say that by way of institutional memory. I've seen mayors who get along with the council. I've seen mayors who do not, and I've seen every shade in between. What do you bring to the work that you need to do and the partnership in government, as it's often called, up with the city council and school committee for that matter?
Well, I have a unique advantage there because I'm actually friends with probably, I don't know, almost all of them. I know these people. I talk to them I talk to them if they vote with me. I talk to them if they vote against me. The next day, I tell them that. We have, every time we're having a meeting now, we try to bring them down in the small groups so we don't get hit with an open meeting law. Talk about the agenda, what our thought process is bringing this forward, what their concerns are, and we give them a chance to talk and kick around the ideas. We've done that for the last 2 meetings, and I really like it. We're going to keep that process going, and I think we're going to expand it also to the school committee. But if you talk to people, even when you disagree, hey, I'll see you Wednesday. It's not the end of the world. People have to vote their conscience, and I respect that. I think if you noticed the meeting the other night, it was a much more tempered crowd there. It was a very supportive. I think we're going to put stuff forward that they know is going to help the city, and when they disagree with me, they'll vote no, and tomorrow morning we'll have a coffee together and get on to the next one, because it's coming. It's not the last vote of their life.
Right.
We're going to have another one coming in 2 weeks.
We're going to have another one. Yeah, just wait, there'll be more.
That's exactly right.
It's like the old Doritos commercial. Go ahead, eat them. We'll make more.
That's exactly what it is, because you can't, like I said, I think most of them are all very decent, solid people. I have the privilege of knowing her even before I was mayor as a member of the school committee.
But over time, Mayor, 3 or 4 of them are going to want your job.
There was a couple of them. This is a true story. I think these people think these are like Rip Van Winkle tales or something. But in the last election, a couple of them said, I'm going to get into the race. And I said, well, you're more than welcome, because there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, right.
That's not the way you do politics. If I'm going to run against Mike Moran, I say, Mike, I'm running against you. I better be down at Express getting some stickers made, because I'm going to do it. Not because I'm going to tell you I'm going to just do it. Get into the race. Let's go.
Trust me, you'll never have that opportunity. Because I wouldn't do your job. Well, first of all, don't have the skills and couldn't be elected. But politics is a particularly unique thing. Like I'm telling you something you don't know. In the short time we have remaining, give me 2 or 3 high priorities for the first 2 years, the first year, the 100 days. You're going to get these crazy tape measures.
Right. What happens? Okay, and I'm going to give you 2 or 3, but let me give you the reasons why that's fraught with danger. Okay. In the political world I travel in now, if I say my most important thing is that cup, and I really want to fix that cup, people come at me from 10.
My cup, and you can't have it, man.
They come at me from 10 directions where you didn't mention the spoon. You didn't mention the spoon, because I'm like, okay, well, I was going to get to the spoon too, but you said the cup was most important. Right. What happens in politics is when you say something, and the people that want their thing to be the top priority say, oh, look, he's not concerned about that. That's not the way it works. I look at it like it's a wheel and a spoke. These are all spokes, and they're all important. This week I've put a lot of time in on abandoned housing. I think it's a blight to the community. My heart goes out to the people that live next to these things, because they're not safe, they're not clean. Who wants to live near one of these houses? We actually were touring one the other day up on 4th Street. We came around the back of the house, and there was a woman with sheets hung up around a little rear deck, which was probably no more than, she was living there. Living there. Yeah, in the back of the house. And so abandoned and blighted property is a priority. Our streets are a priority. Public safety. We are working right now with the school department on instituting some cameras in the city. What we've found is that with the additional funds we're getting under the new Student Opportunity Act, we're going to take some of those funds and we're going to set up cameras that'll serve 2 purposes. They'll make sure the students are walking home safely through these areas, not being bothered, and that they can be used by the police for crashes, crime, anything else other times. And we're looking like a perfect example I tell everybody is where the kids all crossed the street up at Talbot, where we had that student hit by a car. Sure. So if we have a camera there permanently, we can make sure the kids are getting home safe, and if there's trouble at that intersection, the police have access to it. So we're going to buy cameras, 20 cameras, the school committee, for the city to use, some temporary. I think that'll increase public safety. There's a bunch of things. I mean, we have economic development. What are we going to do there? We've had it kind of languish for a little while here, but we want companies coming back to Fall River, and I'm hearing a number of good things right now about companies that we've already had meetings with, and some that want to move here, some that want to expand here, and we're we're putting them all on the table, and away we go.
Can you handle the time that is no longer your own, that takes away from family? Because I know that that's an important thing. How did you negotiate that?
No, Jude is my family, and she's the one I live with. So she knows she's a real good trooper, and she's a real good campaigner.
She's on board.
Yeah, she's probably better at it than me. And no, it's just it's the work ethic, and it's what's in your heart that you want to do. If you have that, you can go forward with support from your family, and that's what it is. She's very, very understanding of what I'm doing. She'll ask me, "What's it like in there today? What happened today?" And sometimes I'll say, "Well, this didn't go the way I wanted it to."
Yeah.
But it's the same as the votes.
Right.
There's no time to languish there, because the next one's coming.
Yeah.
You try to focus on what you didn't do right, other than fix it, you're going to get murdered.
Well, it's the start of a new era.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, this program has been a program of not one first, that we're not using the jackets. It's shirt sleeves today, the Jim Jordan look.
Yeah.
But the other first is this. We do a 30-minute program. Every single program we've done in the studio since 2006, we get 15 minutes or so into the program, we take a 1-minute break. Run a little public service announcement about Family Service Association and what a great place it is. We didn't do that this time.
I'm sorry if I killed you guys. So
No,
I'll be quiet.
Because the conversation, it's like, let's do this. Listen, my CEO, who is no stranger to the world of politics, as her father was a state representative, Carol Nagel, when I said, we're shooting a couple of programs, and so who should we get? And she said, get Paul Coogan, get the new mayor. And I said, okay, I'm sure he's busy, I thank you, Sarah LaPointe, called it right up, and next thing you know, it was done. So thanks for doing this.
No problem. I mean, I like the chance to get out to talk, and I am still heading back to the office because we have another hour to go. I'll drive by my house on the way down there, and I'll
see
get
if it's
home.
Still there.
No, but I'll be fine. We got things to do, and then we'll be all set.
Mayor Paul Coogan, thank you so much for doing this so early on in your administration. Promise you'll come back.
We will. We'll come back, and next time I come back,
we'll
Mike,
give you a report card.
Yeah, you'll give me a report card, and you'll be saying, this is what you did wrong.
I want to keep it in the
this.
academic terms that you're accustomed to.
Well, for me, it was pass or fail.
Pass or fail, okay.
And you get the credit.
All right. And we thank you very much for watching this edition of the program. This was great fun, and it was very educational and illuminating.
Thank you,
The
Mike.
new mayor of the city of Fall River, Paul Coogan, and we thank you for watching Family Focus. And check your local listings. We'll be back again soon. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.